Razaban at FightHype.com. I'm with my new best friend Johnny Nelson. Big dog, Nick.
Yeah, I'm following you on Instagram, right? You've just showed me how to do that and follow people who are following me as well.
What else did I teach you today?
To watch what my daughters are favouriting on. Yes, right. There's so much trouble on truth.
Johnny, I spoke to you on Monday and you gave me a good insight in your detailed analysis of the heavyweight title clash between Martin and Joshua. We're here today at the undercard press conference, starting off with George Groves and David Brophy. David Brophy, a bit unknown quantity?
Yeah, he is. David Brophy's put himself in a position where he's the hunter. He's got a hunter's mentality in this one, and for once George is in the hunted position. Me saying that means David Brophy has probably been watching George Groves for longer than George has been watching him, so therefore he's been planning, he's been plotting. This is a big deal for him. George can't take him lightly. George should deal with him because George has the experience, which gives you wisdom, and he's had the big fights, and he knows. But that complacency can be dangerous. George should get this job done, but Brophy, you can't write this guy for nothing. Amazing condition. This might be the fight of his life. And is George prepared for a fight like that? He should be, because he's got dreams and aspirations for a world title fight. So I'm quite sure that'll be an entertaining fight. The fight I'm actually looking forward to the most on the undercard, the middleweight fight between Brian Rose and Matthew Macklin. I think it's the loser. It's the end of the day, end of the road for the loser. Matthew Macklin has the experience, and if you'd have mentioned this fight 5 years ago, you'd have said Matthew Macklin hands down. I don't think Matthew Macklin has the legs and the pace what he had, and that's why he's doubting himself. Should he box anymore? Brian Rose can't afford to lose to Matthew Macklin, because that will show his limit, because he should be still young enough, should be still fresh enough, should be still want it enough to be able to beat this Matthew Macklin. So I think it's going to be a good dog fight between these two, because this is about their career. Not just about the win, it's about their career. So I'm looking forward to that fight.
Matthew Macklin obviously said that if Brian Rose fought him in October, we probably would have beaten him, but he's obviously trained well, looked after himself, and can win very well obviously for him, and you say that he's very confident that he'll beat him.
Yeah, that's right. I agree with it, and that's why you never know. That's what he's saying, but you never know, and that's why we'll find out Saturday night how much truth is in that remark. But I really do think this is going to be probably one of the good fights on the undercard.
Going back to George, the super middleweight division at the moment is heaving in the UK. It was for a moment the welterweight was heaving in the UK. It's now the welterweight. The super middleweight. Callum Smith had a phenomenal performance on the weekend. Took out Muhammad in the first round. James Agel is the current champ. You've got Martin Murray in the UK as well, and George Groves in the mix. I know Eddie's looking at putting together Martin Murray and George Groves for the summer. Who's the number one in the UK?
I said James Agel. James Agel has proven that. James Agel is after the humiliating loss to George Groves, he had to go away, lick his wounds and start all over again, and that's exactly what he has done. And that's what's most important. So this game's not about just winning and losing, it's about how you deal with winning and losing. And James Agel had to deal with it. I can remember speaking to Nigel Ben the other day. He was talking about people asking him if this was too early for Anthony Joshua to get in the ring, and he said, well, why? He's got an opportunity, he can bank, he can knock him out. When I lost to Michael Watson, I had to lick my wounds. It made me a better fighter, I had to come back from it. Same thing happened with Chris Eubank, but he still came back to win numerous world titles. So it's not just about fights, it's about how you deal with win and loss. So that's why what James has done, I'd put him up there. He's still fresh. He's a champion. He's unbeaten. There's no reason why you won't put him up there in our top of our pile here in the UK at least, even ourselves.
Callum Smith is now obviously mandatory for the WBC Green Belt against Badou Jack.
Yeah.
Stephen Espinoza spoke to FightHype last week and confirmed that a deal was in place for the winner of Badou Jack fight with Bute and Molina and De Gale to fight in September, potentially in the UK. So obviously Callum Smith doesn't look like he'll get a shot this year.
Well, you know what? In reality, it might not even matter, because again, I'll go back to Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank. We had Michael Nunn. There was not Michael Nunn, there was James Toney, there was Mark McCallum. All these other fighters were around. But because here in the UK, there was that rivalry between Eubank and Ben. Even Collins came out the scene. It was big. The fights were big enough. They generated enough interest and hype around them. These guys could afford to kind of okay, we're not bothered about Tony, we're not bothered about Nunn, we're not bothered about Macklin. And in the UK, it's got to a stage where we have potentially 3, 4, 5, 6 round robin fights we could have just with British fighters. You've talked of Groves against Murray, Smith against Enos, and vice versa. These are good fights we can see. A handful of fights where they don't even have to step out of the pool or have to hang about and wait for a world title fight, but still get big fights and decent money fights as well.
Obviously, just playing out the game now. If George gets through the fight, gets through Murray, beats Murray, is it a risky fight taking Callum later on this year for George?
That's a big fight. That's another big fight. And George gets himself into a position where he's in these big domestic fights because he's that kind of character, he's that kind of guy, he's that kind of fight. So good on you, you have to respect him for that. James Gale, then Carl Froch, now Callum Smith. But remember, as time's going on, you're getting older, so all of a sudden he's no longer the young pup saying, chomping at the heels. He's now the older one, and the young Callum Smith is like saying, look, let's have this. But that experience that George has had will stand him in good stead. But George has brilliantly get himself in that position.
Another one of our world champions from the UK, Lee Selby, is up against an American, Eric Hunter, who's the mandatory for the belt. Eric didn't have much to say today.
He just, Eric, I'm hearing rumours that he's not happy with his hotel, he's not happy with the gym he's training, he's not happy with how he's being treated because he's not being treated like a superstar. He ain't a champion, he ain't a superstar, so he's got to swallow it, man. And that's how it is. If he wants to be a prima donna even before he gets a world title, he's better make sure he gets a world title because otherwise people just avoid him thinking this kid's just more trouble than his worth.
He actually put a tweet out yesterday saying how he was unhappy that he wasn't invited to the public workout.
Listen, they'll complain about everything. They'll complain about his laces being done left to right instead of right to left. You don't know, and that's why with Hunter being like this, it's about fighting. It's all this crap outside of the ring. The business is done in the ring, and then when you do the business in the ring, that's when you can start asking for your room to be filled with rose petals and stuff like that. He needs to be patient. Kiss ass for your kick ass. That's how you got to play it.
And what do you think happens in the fight?
I think it's a good fight. I think he pushes Selby to the wire, but John is a slickster. He's a slick fighter, and I think he will humble Hunter, and Hunter will realise how much of a slickster he is. But it won't be an easy ride because Lee Selby's a good boxer, a better boxer than the fighter. I think Selby pulls it off, gets a win on points.
Johnny, obviously now that your Sky duties are over, what's the plans for the rest of the afternoon?
I'm going to eat. I'm going to go down Brixton, going to get myself some Thai food, some hot. And
do you want to sign us out?
Yeah, sign you out. Boys, peace. You know what? I'm following him. If I'm following him, you follow him as well. Just follow him. He knows what he's doing. He's shown me how to follow my daughter to see what they're favouriting. One day media, scary, man, because I'm going to take somebody out.
Jonathan, thank you for FightHype.com. Thank you.